your mother or your father. And for this reason, I will say that parental alienation is the deepest pain of the child's soul, because I met some children and some adults who were the victims of parental alienation. They carry on with them a heavy pain, a stone, a huge stone. They can't communicate properly with anyone because they are afraid to communicate on. So, regarding to my research, the abuser can be each of two parents, not just that one who is living with the child. Because we have cases in Romania when the father, let's say, took the minor to a visiting program and he refused to bring them back, and starting to alienate the child. And if I'm talking about the percentage, I would say that in Romania we have 50-50 mother or father who alienate the children. The worst is that the percentage is increasing. If in 2010 we had, let's say, 1,000 cases reported in front of the prosecutors, we have more than 10,000. So it's not good. So I'm hardly trying to do something to explain to the judges and that we have to do something. And usually they ask me, what should I do? They really ask me in our private sessions, let's say, they ask me, what should I do? And I'm trying to explain them what should they do. But unfortunately, we have an article in our civil law who is not willing to help us and the children at all, and I will explain later. So, also parental alienation can be in divorce cases, but not necessarily. I identify some certain conditions that have to be respected. The other parent, the alienator, has a poison tongue. Actually, we have a word in Romania, if you have a poison tongue and you speak nicely with anyone, not necessarily with the child, you will gain a lot. So, I've been studying a little bit the differences between alienators and alienated parents, and there are a lot regarding to their attitude, because the abusers are more convincing. They speak nicely with the child. They have a nice behavior sometimes, and the other parent, because it's very stressful and frustrated, and he said, it's not fair. It's not fair. I have the right to have my children, my child, and they do a lot of mistakes. And unfortunately, the child has not enough life experience to separate, to analyze by himself the situation, and the things are going worse. As a result, the first step for the child is he gets agitation and becomes nervous when the other parent shows them love and attention. Do you remember the song Love Hurts? Yes, that is here. Love hurts. Love starts to hurt these children. The war is starting, and it's increasing day by day. They start to fight, because I've observed this kind of children. It's like an ocean of thoughts in their soul in the same moment, and they are fighting against all of these thoughts and feelings, and they are not able to cope with this. The second step is children start to replace, step by step, the mother or father image with another woman or man. And I'll give you an example here. One day, from the kindergarten, they told me, you know, that boy refused to do the bracelet for his mother. He said, I will do it for my grandmother, of course, grandmother from father's side. And all of them have a painful dream to be a family again one day, and I will give you another example. It happened on holiday, and the discussion was like that. You see, Mom, our bed is spaced enough for me and for you and for my dad, and I will sleep here, Dad in the middle, and you will be sitting next to my dad. And the dad, who tried to alienate the child, was placed in the middle, like to protect him in a way. The third step is the child starts to hate the other parent for different but important reasons. And one of them that I identified is that they have different expectations from alienated parents. Starting with the way of speaking with him. I could read, studying those parts, I could read that sometimes the child said in front of the psychologist, I just want to meet that father who was in the past, not this father, who is arguing with me, who asked me to go with him in a rude way. They say, I miss that father from the past. So we have to be carefully on the behavior of alienated parents who is moving all the time. So no one understands the message of that desperate girl. She was asking for that father. Some of them, they are scared about the behavior of alienated parents. The child can feel the trauma of abandonment by a parent who does not fight enough to protect him and to love him. And one of the adults told me, you know, I'm very upset because my father wasn't able to fight for me. He was just leaving me with the crazy woman. She called her mom a crazy woman. And her wishes was, I wish that my mother could not die until she will realize what damage did to me. So these children cross step by step different emotions, and they are not able to cope with. The fourth step, the child becomes centered around the rejection of the other parent who has no permanent access. And here is a matter of survival. And one of the adults told me, it was a problem of who will survive, me or my alienator mother. And another problem is anger, because the incapacity of alienated parent to do what child really wants, and sometimes they really want to punish the parent. The fifth step, and the worst, is when the child is really afraid to be in contact or in the company of alienated parent because of his behavior, because of what alienator said, or things like that. The child is not himself at all and can no longer control his own. So, and I think in our all opinion, none of the child was born having the main purpose in his life to hate his mother or father. They was born loving their two parents. What happened next is the worst. They are taught to hate. The alienators teach their children how to hate, as well as they should learn them how to be kind and good and how to love. One of the adults told me, you know, I'm not able to love my boyfriend. I don't know what is love. I was shocked when my boyfriend touched me. I was shocked on my first Sunday when I visited my boyfriend's family, and I could see what's happened in a normal family. They were laughing, they were telling jokes and things like that. They're holding hands, and she told me, I didn't know that something like that can be in reality. So they don't know how to love, and they don't know how to fight. They are not able to fight because they were, they had this kind of example in the past. So in Romania, let's say the situation is split into parts. We have good things, we have good judges, good prosecutors who understood the phenomenon and try to do something, really try to do something, and we have also some lack of legislation, but fortunately, because of these trainings and because of these workshops, they just told me, you know, we should do something regarding to legislation, and this is the main reason for I'm working hardly to change something in legislation. And I really want to propose you to organize in Romania a conference like this one, because I spoke with the president of the Tribunal of Bucharest half an hour ago. I got the idea, and she told me, yes, I would agree to sustain and to help you and to host you in the main building of Tribunal. And I think the message will be very clear if we would be able to organize a conference in the Tribunal in Bucharest. So if you want to be part of this project, just come and do it together. I don't know, it was my thought. So, we have in Romania some judges who are pioneers in this field, and they have some decisions, very, very good decisions. Maybe I should translate them to spread an entire word. So this yellow file is just one single file. It's a penal case when mom refused to accept court decision and refused to allow to the child to go to the father for visiting programs. So this is the file. The pink one are also from penal cases, because we have a lot. So, judges in Romania started to listen to minors to identify by themselves alienation signs. And they notice everything in a hearing report. But here we also have a problem, because if they written everything, the other parent will come and ask to see the report, and he will go outside their home, and they will have argue or even a fight with the child. And one of the judges told me, I did mistakes once, and I will tell you what happened. The father read the report, went back home, and the child arrived in the hospital. And since then, that judge told me, I will never write in a report what the children told me. But the other judges told me, no, it's not possible, I have to write everything, because otherwise I can't have any proofs that the child told me that and that and that. So the judicial practice is half and a half. The good thing is that Romanian judges started to recognize parental alienation. They are not asked me, or they are not asked anyone if we have scientific proofs or things like that. They are trained, they started to attend the conferences where it's about the subject, and they are asking to psychologists to help them. They are really asked, so this is a good thing, I think. As a measure, they changed the minor's domicile to the victim's parent. So I think this is a good thing, because all of you are agreed that we have to extract the child from that environment is not properly for them. They ordered the exclusive exercise of parental authority by the victim's parent as a result of penal sentence. And we have a very, very hard case in Romania to one of the districts in Bucharest. They are fighting for 4 years, I think. And the father is an Italian guy, the mother is a Romanian woman. And he gained exclusive exercise of parental authority and domicile in Italy, but he couldn't do anything because the minor refused to go. And we have an article in civil law, and they are written that if the minor refuses to go, nothing can be done. So, in fact, the next measure is go to the counseling, psychological counseling for 3 months, and after that, if he still refuses to go to his parents, we'll apply a fine and things like that. But as I could see, nothing can scare alienators, because this woman was punished to prison for 2 months. She doesn't care. She really doesn't care. And I had a talk with some of the prosecutors from that district, and they really asked me, what should we do? We don't know what to do with this kind of woman. We try to discuss with her. We try to explain to her that is not good for her son. She refused. She refused to listen to anyone. So the next step in Romania is to improve the legislation, and I think I will have, let's say, a team of judges, because they are the best to ask for changing in law and to do something regarding to this sensitive subject. Another measure that the judges took in Romania, they extend the program of personal ties to the limit of physical custody. It means that I have to finish the license. No? Okay. So they extend the program of personal ties to the limit of physical custody, and I have one judge who started to do this 1 week to a parent, the other week to the other parent, and holidays like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work because they refuse to go. They start to send to the psychological counseling the child and parents, because it's not enough to send to psychological counseling just that boy or that young girl. It's nothing, because with a psychologist they will spend 1 hour or 2 hours a week. But what about the other hours spending with parents, with alienator? So we are trying to introduce into the law also this topic, to send to psychological counseling also the child and his both parents, otherwise it's nothing. And the judges attend classes, workshops about parental alienation, and I'm very happy because they started to be part of my team. Let's say I organized a workshop to the National Institute of Magistracy, and I had in my team 2 judges and 2 prosecutors, and they came with cases, and they discussed about their cases with future judges and prosecutors, and it was a really nice workshops during 3 hours and a half with no coffee break and nothing. They were very involved, and they were there. In penal cases, because we have in Romania this kind of punishment, let's say, for alienators, we have an article in Penal Code, the crime of non-compliance with the custody decisions of the minor. But unfortunately, up to now, 90% of these complaints are, let's say, not cancelled. You know what I'm trying to say. They are not sent in front of the court. But now, because we started to have this kind of workshops, hopefully the number will be higher. Some of the penal judges sent to jail with suspension, and they punished to the jail by postponing punishment under supervision for 2 years. The court orders for the aggressor to attend psychological counseling or psychotherapy, but also here we have a problem because there's no punishment if they don't. So the law is for good guys. The court decisions are for good guys. For bad one, it's almost impossible. But we are trying to move on. The order of protection orders for alienated parents who became aggressive. But as I read in those files, I could read some text messages. The father said something like that. Please, I just want to meet my boy. Otherwise, I will kill you. And the judge said, oh my God, she is in danger. Please keep the distance 400 meters away. But some of judges observed the main purpose of this text message, and it was written in their sentences. So we are in a fight. We are in the middle of the fire, but hopefully we will survive. They order a criminal fine for abuser. It's very important to identify as a judge what is the best to apply in a specific case. For example, some of them are keen about money, to have money. And in that moment, you can order a criminal fine and they will come down. Otherwise, are afraid of jail. And in that case, you should send them to jail even by postponed. So, we have this rule: after divorce, the parental authority is shared by both parents unless the court decides otherwise. And you can see maybe in your countries is the same rule. And all decisions must be taken in the best interest of the child. And we have the expression superior interest of the child. And we have also an agreement signed with Romanian Psychologists College to recognize the phenomenon of parental alienation as a form of severe psychological abuse on the child, and judges started to invoke him in their decisions. So this is the article. This is the worst article we have in Romania regarding to this topic. And we have two different ways to solve this conflict, and the civil trial and the criminal one. But unfortunately, the trial it's during 2 or 3 years, and it's awful for the children. So, with the help of psychologists, courts have begun to recognize the phenomenon and they are listening to the minors. I would like to present this case. Yes, it is an awful case. The mother allowed the child to go into the park. Just imagine, going with a 4-year-old boy, going into the park with police officer, ballet, mother, father, 2 lawyers. It's like a wedding. So it's completely mad. This woman is completely mad. And the final conclusions reported by General Direction of Social Assistance and Child Protection, it was to limit or decline the mother from parental rights. This is the last, the worst, the last. Nothing can be done after this. So at the beginning, when the boy was 2 years old, he was happy to spend time with his father. After that. So also we have several cases when this direction, General Directorate for Social Assistance and Child Protection, asked in front of the judge to decay from parental rights the mother or the father who alienated the child. Here I have several cases. I can share I can share them with you if you want, because I extract these words directly from the sentences from the judge. Sometimes judges also advise parents to do something, like here, to avoid sharing complaints about the other parent in the presence of the minor, in order to not favor installation of parental alienation and implicitly the emotional abuse of the minor. But who is able to read and to understand this? Because the alienator do not listen to anybody. I had some cases in mediation, and unfortunately, I had no success. Even I've tried hardly to explain them that that child has a soul, has emotions, loves both parents, with no success. And here you can see that the judge observed that the behavioral mistakes committed by the mother are able to establish another custodial measures. Okay. As a measure to prevent an unusual situation, some judges started to apply this. A resident parent should be obliged by courts to leave the child to the other parent by himself. Because now it's not a comfortable situation. Me, as a non-resident parent, I have to go in front of the door to the other parent and to ask, please give me the child, and she will open the door and she will say, no, the child doesn't want to come. And it's a power position for the resident. I'm like, I'm here, please allow me to see my child. And I spoke with some judges and I proposed, come on, let's do an experiment. Let's do like that. Oblige the parent to go to the other house, to non-resident parent, and to let the child there. Because otherwise he will, or the mother, will have to explain how it was possible to travel with the child to the other house. Because they come in front of the police and say, okay, look, the child wants to come and doesn't want to come, and things like that. But if I oblige them to go there to the other house, it could be a little bit different. We'll see what happens in fact. Or we have an example here. Decide that the child's transfer should be made in front of the educational institution and not to the child's domicile, a judge said in his decision. So sometimes minors are obliged to attend psychological counseling for a maximum period of 3 months, and I could read some reports. But as I told you before, if we do not have both parents in this procedure, it's for nothing. And I'm trying to explain this to the judge. If the minor refuses, in Romania nothing can be done in any way, unfortunately now. So the judges started to say, oh my God, it's not good for the justice because we are not able to do the justice. Because we're studying all of these files and listen the minor, listen the parents, listen to everyone, working a lot, and at the end, nothing can be done just because a little boy or a little girl tell to the others, I don't want to go with my mom. This is not fair. So hopefully we will change this. Sometimes the minors listening report are very interesting. It's a case here. After 8 months of complete separation from the mother, the minors had to change home and move to their mother. After 1 year, the minors were listened again by the judge, and they said, 6 years old girl wants to live with both parents. And Georgiana is, the next. And also look like he loves both parents alike, but a little more mommy. Here it's, let's say, a happy solved case, because finally they are all together in a way. More interesting, it's 5 years old girl who said, I don't know why we are fighting. She told us that her father used to go down in the house to keep the girls there, while the police came with the other parent and with the bailiffs and things like that. And they were kept there underground. And please, shh, silence, we are not home. No one can, we are not here. Please keep silence. And it was a very stressful situation for them. So she wants to live with both parents to be all together, but unfortunately it's not possible. She also says that daddy does not want to understand that it's necessary to calm down. 5 years old girl to say something like that, but no one can hear her voice. She says that she loves her mom, saying that he was trying to keep us there. He kept us for 8 months, even though I told him I want to be with my mother. And the same girl told to the judge 1 year before, no, I don't want to go with my mother. She was lying. Now, because she was in a safety place, she could tell us the truth. Yes, I told to my dad that I want to be with my mother. It's a very interesting case. So here you have some explanation from judges. They identify mothers, behavioral errors, and a risk that the child may feel as a stranger in relationship with his father. And here another sad case. The court take into consideration the report of the guardianship authorities, and they started to recognize the parental alienation. So here it's very interesting, because the courts correctly noticed that the superior interest of the minor is not equal with what the minor said. It's very interesting, because he is affected by the conflicts between parents and he is influenced by the resident parent. So the age was 13 years old, and the judge said, no, you don't know better than I know. This is not good for you. So I really like this case. Yes, if we want to discuss, to ask me something, let's use the last 5 minutes for this kind of interactive.
Okay, thank you. Wasn't that interesting about all this work with young, soon-to-be judges? Who has a question?
In all the literature I read, and in your speech also, it is a question of sometimes when you want to share the time for the children, it's the child who has to move from the father to the mother. Why is it not possible to assign a house, a residence for the children, and for the parents to come and spend time. It is less
Stressful for the
problematic
child.
and stressful for the child. Why is it not considered?
You know, it's a hard question for me and for all of you, I suppose. It's a hard question. I don't know what to say to you. I've heard that in some countries it's something. I think in Belgium or Italy, I've heard it before. In Romania, I don't know this kind of situation. I think we do not have something like that. I'm happy that we have half time spending with both parents. You know, it's a great achievement for Romanian judicial system. I think for the moment it works like that, but just in small cases. But also your idea could be.
I don't mean it for Romania, all over.
Yes, I know. I'm talking about my country because I know exactly what happened there because I'm very involved in this situation. Please, another question.
Another question. I'm walking to the back. You could have met me halfway, but no. You're Swedish and you're just going to stand right there.
Of course. I appreciate that you feel that Romania, that you still have quite a long way to go. But for me, then coming from Sweden, you're quite far ahead. As far as recognizing PA in the family court system in both places. So hence my question, and that is there any one significant event or process that had caused you to be so far ahead as I think you are?
I can't understand your questions. If it's
Wants to know why you are so far ahead of Sweden in Bucharest, Romania. What did you do to get so far ahead of Sweden?
I traveled by plane for 3 hours. What is in Sweden? The situation in Sweden. I don't know exactly the situation in Sweden to make a parallel comparison with your system. Means that I'm in a good position or in a bad one?
Okay, here's another.
Your country is not recognized?
Okay, my name is Bengt Frost and I'm from BPM law firm in Sweden. And we have some experience with the PA in the court system. And it's true, like my fellow man is saying, we haven't come that far in Sweden as you have in Romania. Still, they listen a lot to what the children say. They don't usually deny what the children says. My question is, you told me before that you have educated judges, even the Psychologist Association in Romania accepts PA. When you go to court, do they reference all of the investigation, all the theories about PAs that is you have in this case when they take the decision, or go to judges just into the case and says, okay, this parents has influenced the children. And the second question is, how many cases do you have where the judges accept PA?
I don't know how many cases, but I would say maybe 15 or 20%, because we have a conflict between generates, the old judges, and nothing can be done there almost. I spoke with the judge, very nice judge, a great woman, but she told me, Simona, please stop. The child should be with the mother. Stop. I do not accept anything. What is you're crazy in your mind? Come on, half and half and oh. I said, okay, I love you too. So nothing can be done with this kind of judges. There are some judges who don't say anything to anyone, but they read, they ask, and they do. And some of them just trying to be involved, trying to be pioneers, trying to help me. Yes.
15 to 20%, that's a lot.
I think yes, and hopefully it's increasing because we will continue the project with the National Institute of Magistracy, hopefully, and the next generation of future judges will be more open-minded. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.